Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are making this beautiful Australian Aboriginal art. So let's begin. So you can see I have done the main pattern. Now we're going to add a lot of dots to this of different sizes in each color. So this art form is very similar to what we have with dot art in India. So let's begin. All these lines, dots have a lot of meanings in this particular art form, which is very significant. So let's start. I'm using a stew stick. At the back of this stew stick, I'm using it to create multiple dots. This is a dark green color that I'm using. I'm going to first create the bigger dots, and then with the help of the tip, I'm going to add in the smaller dots. So these dots have to be placed very randomly. This is also known as the indigenous art. This was done on rocks and clothes sometimes. And most importantly, this is centered on storytelling. Every art form have its own story to tell. So today we are making an Australian Aboriginal art. So we're going to create dots of same color in each block and then create some smaller dots in between. This art form is a pretty old art form. It's supposed to be dated back to at least 20,000 years old. In archaeologists have a lot of of them have even estimated it to be 50,000 to 65,000 years old art form. Even now also in today's time also they have the certain areas where people are still practicing this art form. You can be a part of their cultural program and participate and make this one. This is something which is very similar to what we have dot art in India. All these artwork consists of a lot of symbols. Every dot, the smaller dots here, the red color, these patterns have all a lot of significant values. How they used to live, how they used to communicate. This is a part of their preservation of their culture. They also represents the constellations, the stars. The mountains, the trees, the rivers, how they are all connected to each other. This is one of the ways how that is done. The Aboriginal art is actually divided into three parts. One is the dot painting, second is the abstract art and the painting, and the third is the sand or the rock engraving. So this is one of the part that we are learning today. I have created a small line using a pencil to give it a markation, and we're going to try and stick within that line. So in the next block, we can come up with the next color. The way I'm using a stew stick, they used to again use a tree trunk, bark of a tree, and create these dots. You will see a lot of Aboriginal people still practicing this art form in Australia. This one is a modification what we are doing today. Originally, they used to make colors using stones, grinding them and obtaining the right color. So it used to be in a shade of red, yellow, white and black. So a lot of artwork that you see, Australian artwork, you will find that it to be in a darker shades. Generally, I told you the shades of yellow, red, white and black. So this is a modification where we are adding a lot of colors to give it a personal touch. Now with modernization, a lot more colors are added to the panel, which is the shades of orange, purple, pink and turquoise blue, along with the basic colors that we use. So once we are done with the bigger dots, we're going to come back and put in the smaller dots in between. A lot of brush strokes are also used. You will see this art form being painted on a lot, bodies of people while they're performing their cultural dance. We're going to try and stick to the lines and try and create dots inside it only. So you can see I am just going to tilt my sheet and show you how this is going to give a final look. We're just going to do one color. This is only in terms of practicing, learning a new skill. You can find a lot of beautiful artwork online, which women from Australia have painted, Indigenous women have painted. whenever you have time, do, you know, visit their websites and appreciate their beautiful artwork. It's always nice to learn something about a new culture, how they used to live, how they used to, do their regular day-to-day tasks. So you can see, just by placing dots of different sizes, we can create an absolutely beautiful design and pattern. This is created mainly by the local people of Australia. With so much of modernization, we are so blessed to learn something which is thousands of kilometers away from us, and yet we are so privileged to learn this today. So here we are with the main pattern with the bigger dots. Let's do the smaller dots in between. Wherever you think it's a little more space left, let's make the bigger dot, so it's easier for us to fill it up with the smaller ones. Be always very careful. Let's now move on to the smaller dots. I'm going to use the same stew stick and use the other side of it now to get my smaller dots. So you can just, you can see I'm just using the tip of my stick now from the other side and placing all the smaller dots. Feel free to ask me any question. You can find a lot more similar artwork on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. You can use the backside of any of your paintbrush to get the smaller dot. If you want, you can do it simultaneously also, the smaller dots, but this way it's a little more easier. See, I'm using the paint directly from the bottle. I have not added any water. I want a thick dot of paint, otherwise it might become translucent or transparent. So I want a rich color to come in. We're just getting a glimpse of how this is going to look like. So a lot more dots to come in before we can finally say that this portion is complete. Yes, definitely such artwork requires a lot of patience, and you know, you have to be very calm doing every single dot because you don't want it to look messy. Since it's a white surface, I'm trying using darker shades. So we won't be probably using a shade of yellow or a light shade of yellow. Maybe we can go for orange. A shade of white is something which is very important. You can see I've done a lot more small dots on the red pattern inside. So I hope you learned something new today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. This is a training workshop where we are just learning how to do a new thing. And learn about a new culture altogether. So here we are. We'll let this color dry up nicely because it's a thick coat of paint, and this would require a bit more time to dry up. So this is how it's going to look finally. I hope you had a wonderful time learning a lot more information about this beautiful art form from Australia. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.